Welcome to Athletic Ambitions with me, Fiona Carter.
And me, Tom Barlow.
We are here to share the stories of our CASS and Friends athletes, aspiring Olympians and world champions. We will also interview elite athletes and professionals. They will be sharing their stories, the ups and downs and bumpy ride that their journey may have. We will learn how they persevere and deal with setbacks, train and compete at the highest level, and how their mindset helps with every step of the way. So if you want to hear about our upcoming athletes and learn from the best, this podcast is for you.
This is Athletic Ambitions, where every journey begins with a single step.
Hi Fee, welcome to our first CASS and Friends podcast, and I just wanted to kick it off and ask what's initiated us to start this.
Okay, well, Tom, nice to be doing the first podcast with you. Well, we started and we initiated CASS and Friends, a charity, back in 2015. We were supporting a local triathlete, Cassarina Ferreira, and she was in the West Midlands Triathlon Academy. Her parents couldn't afford to buy her the new bike, the new wetsuit, the trainers, everything that she needed because she was growing. She was about 14 when we started supporting her. So with a couple of friends in the village, we set up this little fund. We called it CASS and Friends after her, Cassarina. And in 2017, we became a charity. So we kind of formalised it and actually became a charity so that we could raise a little bit more money for other athletes as well. And now what we do is we support up to about 20 to 25 athletes per year. We try to give them up to £2,000 of funding per year. And we also deliver an 8-week sporting success mindset course for the athletes. So we know that sport is obviously very physical, but we also think that the mental aspect of sport is really important. And so we really try to help them with that. And any of the other additional pieces of the jigsaw, we have a relationship with a nutritionist and we give them support in their nutrition. We also have a relationship with a physio and strength and conditioning coach. So we try to help the athletes with as much as we possibly can. It really came about because I was doing some competing myself for GB, doing the age group duathlons, and competed in Spain and Switzerland, and realised just how expensive it was to pay for the kit initially, to get the flight out there, to pay for the hotel. And we find that our athletes are also having to pay for all of their kit, all of their equipment. If they're travelling, if they're racing internationally, they have to travel under their own steam and stay in hotels. And again, my son was on the England pathway for hockey, and when he got signed up, we got the kit list, and to buy the kit for his first lot of kit was £500. Yeah. So we just knew that lots of families couldn't necessarily afford to just have this money that's available instantly. So we thought, what could we do to help our athletes with a little bit of funding?
Yeah, I think it's really surprising how little funding there is out there, especially in kind of grassroots sport, and then obviously coming up through the ranks. And it's only until you get to kind of the top, or even in the academy, as you say, it's still an expectation for funding from yourself there. And obviously with the charity and what you've set up is to kind of help alleviate some of those pressures. And I don't think it goes unnoticed by everyone, and everyone's really appreciative of the charity as a whole. So how many athletes have we got at the moment then, roughly?
At the moment we've got about 25 to 28. I say that just because some of them, they start with us when they're 12, if they apply at that age, and then we support them till the age of 18. So we lose a few each year and then we gain a few each year, but we try to keep it around 25 to 30 maximum, simply because we can't fundraise for any more than that. But 20 to 25 is a great number, because our intention over the next few years is to, instead of giving them just £1,000 each year, giving them up to £2,000 each year, because recently we surveyed the athletes, and we obviously know there's cost of living crisis at the moment, so expenses are going up for everybody, and on average our athletes, to do their sport, they're spending about £5,000 a year.
Yeah, I mean, under 18 years old, it's obviously a challenge. You balancing school and training for whatever event that is. When I was doing sport, when I was younger, I was working a part-time job and kind of 15, 20, 25 hours a week with school at times. And like you say, even now that's so much more expensive than it was, and the balance of the numbers that we've got is great, I suppose, because also creates quite a community that we've got within CASS and Friends, which is something that's kind of come about really well, hasn't it? And we've got some events internally we do, just for everyone to get to know each other. Although that can be a challenge with seasons as such of people's training and school exams, etc. But it is really good what you've managed to create with everyone else on board. So that's lovely. And I suppose, like you say, so you touched on earlier, you've done some sport kind of age group GB stuff. So that's obviously still ambition of yours, isn't it? I suppose to compete at a good level for yourself, and so is that duathlon, triathlon at the moment?
Yeah, mostly. Well, in the past it's been duathlon, and running is a sport I guess I prefer out of the running or cycling. And I would absolutely love to do an Ironman. So I've been not teaching myself, I've been learning to swim with the help of lots and lots of other people, getting feedback on my technique and figuring out how to swim 3.9 kilometres.
No more armbands then.
No more armbands, but still a nose clip. So it's not the most attractive sport. But that's going well. And actually I was injured last year. So the gift of the injury was that I was able to put a lot more effort into the swimming. And I'm actually, the other gift of the injury was that I'm a lot more empathetic towards the athletes that I work with and mentor if they're injured. I'd never really had a significant injury before. And as you know, sport is certainly a bumpy ride. And a lot of our athletes do go through ups and downs with injury and setbacks. So it's really actually enabled me to be a lot more supportive when I'm coaching and working with them, which is good.
Yeah, so you lead on the mindset course, which you also touched on. And by the way, that is not just for people on the charity. Other people that is open to do that course. And with the mindset course, is it 7 or 8 weeks, you say?
It's 8 weeks, it's 8 weeks, and it's a really good delve into lots of different things that people would like to understand, not just for sport but for life in general. First week is all about getting to understand the athlete, if it's somebody that we don't know because they're not part of CASS and Friends, understanding their values in week number 1. Then week number 2 is all about understanding setting goals and understanding the chimp paradox. So we use the chimp paradox to understand how our brain works throughout the whole of the rest of the course. Week number 3 is working with a belief or a habit that's not particularly helpful. So that's a really, really valuable week, not just for sport. As I say, it could be something day-to-day life. And then week 4 is all about nutrition, recovery and sleep. Week 5 is dealing with anxiety and fears, because I think a lot of young athletes or older athletes fear failure. So we deal a lot with that. We deal with confidence in week number 6. And week number 7 is all about setting a really fantastic pre-race psych plan. So again, it's not about the physical training. It's about that final week before your main A race, how you're going to prepare mentally in that whole week. And then the final session we do 2 weeks later, so as a follow-up session. Okay. So we see how the strategies are working, the tools and techniques that we've sort of given as guidance to the athletes, and they have a workbook they work through. They have a little chimp that they have as a key ring, and midway through the course they all get a book. So by week 4, we know the athletes pretty well, so we send them a book in post which is relevant to what they're trying to work on.
Yeah, I suppose it's great way just to raise that awareness, isn't it, for yourself more than, as the athlete. It's very easy to overlook certain aspects of the sport, and just building that routine day to day, leading up to A races and even B races. It's a lot of pressure, and especially with social media and things like that. As a younger person, it's easy to compare yourself, isn't it, to those around you, especially within sport. So that's great. And the mindset course, as we say, is not just for those in the charity, but we do offer that to everyone, don't we, on the charity as well. So it's just another thing that kind of a string to the bow of the charity, really. And those that are looking to apply for the charity, I suppose, what's our kind of remit, or what is it that, and how do they kind of do that?
It's a good question, Tom. It's basically through the website. We have an application form on the website. And so somebody would apply via the application form. the criteria that they have to fit inside is they have to be between the age of 12 and 18. They have to live in Gloucestershire or Worcestershire, attend a state school, if not be on a very full bursary for school, and be within a certain income threshold. So they fill out the application form. If that's successful, then we meet the applicant and their parent, speak to their coach, make sure their coach is kind of on board with the whole process as well. And if that's successful, then we take them on, and that would be it.
Yeah, and obviously that's a financial backing is the primary focus of the charity, isn't it? As we say, there's a lot of cost strains associated with sport. So in terms of fundraising and how anyone who wants to get involved with supporting the charity, how can they go about doing that as well?
Well, again, on the website we do have a donation page, so we're always absolutely delighted to have donations from external supporters. That can be gift aided as well, which is great, because obviously then we get the 25% extra from the government, which is brilliant, and that's another benefit of being a charity. If anybody wants to do a fundraising event, run a marathon, do a triathlon, and raise money for the charity, anything like that, by all means get in touch, and we'd be very happy to support and do that.
Yeah, it's a great charity to be a part of as well, really, isn't it? We've got a number of people that are routine supporters of the charity, and I think they see the benefit that it does offer to those athletes we've got on the programme as such. And of those on the charity at the moment, we've had some quite recent successes. I think one or two of them have just finished with the charity, but we've had some good athletic results, I think, haven't we?
We have. We've got a young girl who's a hurdler, Jess Duncton, and she was at the European Championships last year competing in the under-23s. Again, done some fantastic races this season already indoors. I think she's the British champion or British record holder for the 60-metre hurdles indoors. And one of our rowers last year was at the under-19s World Championships in Paris. That was Chloe Shepherd. So, I mean, that's just two. There are many, many more that we could talk about. We've got a young cyclist, Lewis, who's now signed up with an Italian cycling team, Zappi. So he's on his way to doing some good stuff professionally. So, loads of brilliant athletes coming through.
Yeah, and I suppose, your contacts within the sport and even others we've got, trustees, there's a lot of experience within the charity as well, which is great, isn't it? Contacts that we know and coaches, etc. So it is a good community we've built, and we've supported 51 athletes in total now, haven't we? So it's quite a nice thing to see the progression from that young age all the way up to 18 years old when they do finish with the charity. But at that point, we're implementing an offboarding process, aren't we, at the moment?
Yep.
And that's whereby we can stay in touch with the athletes and kind of support them to get personal sponsorship and funding, which is quite obviously important as you progress in sport, because you don't earn an income out of sport straight away, do you?
No.
So that's definitely something else we've been working on recently. And for yourself, then, you say you're looking at doing an Ironman, and I believe you've entered one now, haven't you?
I've entered a couple of 70.3s. Okay. If they go according to plan, then I have entered another 70.3 at the end of October, which I could upgrade to the full distance. So I think we might have to wait and see. So we'll update that on the next podcast that we do.
Yeah, how your training's going.
Yeah, and Tom, you're about to do Manchester Marathon shortly, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's 5 or 6 weeks away now. So, I've never ran a marathon before. My history's a cyclist, so a little bit of a transition due to timeframes and time constraints with work and university. Transition to running is, not as seamless as I'd like, but it's there's enough similarities that help, I suppose, with the cardio. So, I'm looking forward to doing the first marathon, but it's more a case of completing it than running a silly fast time. I'll leave that to everyone else. Yeah,
well, you'll do one, and then you'll be doing the silly fast time for the next one, I would imagine.
I've already got the bug of running, I suppose, lately. So, I'm looking forward to that, definitely. But over the next few years, we've got some plans for CASS and Friends, haven't we? As I say, we've just been working on our offboarding strategy, which is coming to play soon. And kind of other things we're looking to work towards? Is there anything at the forefront of your mind?
Well, we have a relationship with Sports Aid, so we support the Sports Aid athletes that come through that are based here in Gloucestershire and Worcestershire. So maintaining our relationship with Sports Aid is really important. And we also have two brilliant, you talked about relationships with coaches, and we do know lots of coaches, and we have a good network of contacts that we've built up. But we have a fantastic ambassador who's Nikki Bartlett, professional triathlete. So hopefully involving her a little bit more and going, seeing her at many more of our community events, because we do quite a few of those, and our patron Eddie the Eagle. So hopefully continuing to sort of have him at our events as well, because both those two athletes are incredibly inspiring for our younger athletes. Nikki's local here. She used to go to a local school called Bourneside in Cheltenham, and Eddie's from Stroud, so not too far away as well.
No, I think, as we say, it's great to have those kind of iconic people, aspirational people around us as well, because they can relate to the younger athletes we've got and the challenges they're being faced, etc. Not just obviously financially, there are many mental and kind of challenging times that come with sport, like injury, etc. And as you say, you've had that yourself. So there's many things that we have to work with the athletes on, but it is worthwhile, isn't it? And we're starting to see some real good results lately as well, which is really nice, and just an additional satisfaction, I suppose, for everyone involved. So that's really nice.
One other thing I think as well is just sort of leading on from that is the plan to do this podcast. I think is great, because what we'll do is we'll interview our young athletes when they leave us age 18, so that everybody will be able to understand, their career up to the point of age 18, to see how hard they've worked and what they've achieved. And then interspersed with some of those interviews, we'll also have some interviews with some professional athletes as well, who can share their stories and inspire the younger generation. So the podcast is going to be a real mix of our own CASS and Friends athletes and some professional athletes and elite athletes as well.
Yeah, and I suppose for those that are finishing at 18, the podcast will be great for those kind of awareness for themselves, for other people, those listening to the podcast. And then, as you say, we've got the opportunity to work with some professional athletes on the podcast, which would be really nice for people to hear kind of how they go about their day-to-day and what's involved for them to get to where they are now. And obviously that's all what everyone's essentially working towards within the charity. So it's really good to see some progress. And to say the podcast has come about because of this, that we want to share and grow the community outside of what we're just funding, really, I suppose, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah.
Good. Okay, lovely.
Good stuff. Well, I think that's a wrap, isn't it?
Yeah, our first podcast, that'll do. So I think, it's been a nice chat. And I say we've got some opportunities for those coming onto the podcast. So keep your eyes open for more podcasts coming out, is what I say.
Yep, absolutely.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Fee.
Nice
and we'll
to
see you
Tom.
soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Athletic Ambitions. We hope you found this episode of interest. And if so, be sure to send this to your family and friends who might also benefit. If you're interested in donating to CASS and Friends, the links are in the description, and we'll hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks, Tom and Fee.